Later he gets a visit from that teacher and he encourages Arnold to leave Welpinit High School and find a better education somewhere else. Arnold decides that in order to do that he must transfer to Reardan, a privileged white high school 22 miles away. His parents agree to let him do it, but not everyone else reacts so kindly. After he leaves, many people beat him up and treat him like an outsider. Even his best friend Rowdy beats him up because of it. At Reardan, he has a hard time fitting in, even though he attempts to try to win the affection of a girl named Penelope and befriends a guy named Gordy. As well as that, he punches a school jock Roger in the face and gets his respect. The separation between Reardan and the reservation makes Arnold feel like he is only Indian there, and at Reardan he is not. It makes him feel like a part-time Indian, like in the title, and he feels like he doesn't belong at the reservation or at Reardan. At Reardan, he joins the varsity basketball team, and they occasionally have to play Welpinit, which causes quite some problems. At the beginning of their first game, somebody throws a quarter at Arnold, and he gets a big cut across his forehead. He is also knocked unconscious by his old best friend Rowdy during the game. This causes the game to be cancelled and it has to be rescheduled. In that next game, Arnold starts off with an excellent play and he scores, and after that, Reardan completely smashes Welpinit and they win. Arnold suffers through two devastating losses in this book. His grandma and his sister both die. His grandmother was struck by a drunk driver and passed away shortly thereafter. His sister left the stove on in her camper van and she passed out and it burned down with her in it. These two deaths cause Arnold to reconcile in himself and find his true identity. During this novel, Arnold receives a book that has his mother's name in it, and that really sets the whole story into motion. Just think about it. If Arnold hadn't have gotten that book, he probably wouldn't have realized so soon that his school, and even his whole reservation, was in poverty. His sister probably also wouldn't have died, because her main motivation to leave Welpinit was to marry a man she loved, but she got the courage to do it from Arnold going to Reardan. Really, this whole thing was Mr. P's fault, because he was the one who put the idea in Arnold's head of leaving Welpinit and going to Reardan. And if he hadn't have left, Arnold also wouldn't have been bullied as much or to such an extent. It is kind of strange to think that one small thing like a book can make such a big change in your life and impact you forever. Just think about it. You could make a single unique or different decision and it could impact your life forever and drastically change your future. Some important vocabulary words I found I had heard before but never really looked them up. Some examples could be hydrocephalic, which is when you have too much cerebral fluid, retroactive, when you take effect from a past date, and tautology, saying the same thing twice but in different words. Other words I found that weren't in my vocabulary were anthropologist, endeavor, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Some Indian names also make an appearance in this book, like Oglala, Tonto, Squaw, and Sioux. One of the main takeaways I got from this book, and it was basically the moral of the story, is that you don't have to be accepted by others to accept yourself. If you are really happy with yourself, it shouldn't matter that people don't like who you are, because to you, you are perfect. And as long as I am content with who I am, other people's opinions don't matter. It also conveys that you don't have to stick to one kind of you. You can be Indian and white and a basketball player, and you don't care what people think because that is who you are. Well, I think that's me done. Thank you for watching, and remember to hit that thumbs up button.
Created using Powtoon.